Hello friend, this is Fox Nivels Studios. What if today we are here with new episodes? What if Naruto was trained by Black Dragon? All element. Before starting story, please subscribe our channel. Hidden Mist Village. The Hidden Mist Village was an extremely beautiful village surrounded by lush grass-covered hills, perfectly sculpted stone buildings, a pleasantly thick fog covering the village which originates from the large ocean surrounding them. Now the village has lost its former beauty thanks to the fourth Mizukage Yagura Jinchuriki of the Three Tails. Yagura declared all bloodlines a disease which needs to be cleansed, and the only way to be cleansed is death itself, and anyone who doesn't agree has also been contaminated, thus plunging them in a year-long civil war which has in a literal sense split the village in two. Rebel Camp, Bloodline. The rebels, though having location on their side as they controlled the larger part of the ocean surrounding the village, but also at a disadvantage as Yagura's forces controlled all the buildings that contained weaponry and medical supplies. Because of this they have to camp out in tents and don't have a proper medical station. Their leader is Mei Terumi, a 20-year-old Junin who since the age of 13 has rapidly rose through the ranks and is now one of the only S-rank female ninja in the elemental nations. She was also one of the most beautiful women throughout the nation. Mei is a cheerful person, and will smile even when swearing to kill someone after she mishears them. She is usually kind and peaceful, speaking well of others and attempting to avoid conflict. Mei proved to be more open-minded than most women. Mei is a tall, slender woman in her 20s. She has green eyes and ankle-length, auburn hair styled into a herringbone pattern at the back, a top knot tied with a dark blue band, and with 4 bangs at the front. 2 bangs are short, with one covering her right eye, and 2 are long, crossing each other on her bust, just below her chin. She wears a long-sleeved, dark blue dress that falls just below the knees. It seems to be closed at the front with a zipper, and is kept open on the front right side from the waist down. The dress only covers up to the upper part of her arms and the underside of her D-cup breasts. Underneath, she wears a mesh armor that covers slightly more of her upper body than her dress. She also wears shorts in the same color as her dress and, underneath those, mesh leggings reaching down over her knees. Around her waist, she wears a belt with a pouch attached to the back on the left along with high-heeled sandals and shin guards reaching up over her knees, dark blue polish on her fingers and toes, and is usually shown with dark blue lipstick. Mei was currently having a meeting with 2 of her most supportive and loyal ninja of her, Ao and Chojuro. Ao was an experienced veteran, having been raised under the feared regime of the Bloody Mist. Ao was a calm, prideful, stern and was the epitome of a stereotypical masculine individual. He was a middle-aged man with blue hair which is styled in a moused-up manner. His left eye was blue and his right eye was covered by an eye patch, under which he concealed the Byakugan that he obtained from a Hyuga clan member he defeated. He wore a talisman in each ear with the kanji for a humble form of to hear, written on them twice on each side. These talismans reacted when his Byakugan is under threat and will protect it from anyone, even himself. He also wore the standard striped, gray suit, with a green haori that had white trimmings that stop halfway down, over them. Chojuro is a shinobi from Kirigakure's 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist who wields the twin sword, Haramekure. Despite his membership in the elite 7 swordsman group, he is a shy individual and seems to lack confidence in his abilities. He also greatly respects and admires Mei. Chojuro has short, tufty blue hair, and dark eyes. He also has pointed, shark-like teeth, a common trait of the members of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist as well as apprentices share. He wears square, black-rimmed glasses connected to ear protectors, a blue pin-striped shirt and camouflage pattern pants. Also, he wears his forehead protector on the front of his holster which he uses to carry Haramekure. The sword itself is wrapped in bandages leaving only the double hilt visible. He also has shuriken holsters strapped onto each of his legs. Ao, have you or the other censors had any luck with in finding Yagura's location? Asked Mei as she flipped her hair back over her shoulder. No Mei-sama, since he disappeared over 5 months ago we haven't even gotten close. A couple of leads here and there but nothing concrete, it's like he just disappeared altogether. Are you sure he hasn't left the village? Positive, he has to be in the village. With our censors there would be no way for him to leave the village without our knowledge. Besides, if he were to slip by us then we would have heard about his location from our spies. Sitting back in her seat thinking about this predicament they find themselves in, we can't keep this war going. We need to find Yagura and eliminate him." Just as she finished her thought, one of the censors burst into the tent. Mei-sama, yelled the censor. "Calm down, what is it?" "We just sensed a large chakra source about 1,200 meters off the coast." "Was it Yagura?" asked Chojuro as he jumped to his feet, worrying that Mei would be reckless if it was based how she has been acting lately. "No, we don't think so. This chakra seems to be much stronger than Yagura's," said the censor in an almost panicked voice. The only person to have chakra anywhere near Yagura was Kisame, and his still wasn't as strong, which means maybe a Jinchuriki has decided to help Yagura. "Chojuro, we are going to check this out. You tell everyone to be prepared that if this goes bad to run and completely leave the village," said Mei in a commanding voice. "Yes, Mei-sama," they all said in union as Ao and Chojuro followed Mei out of the tent. 1,200 meters off the coast of the mist, 10 minutes prior. A large purple portal opened, hovering a foot above the ocean water as a figure wearing a black dragon mask slightly covered by long spiky sun-kissed golden blonde hair, standing at 5 feet 10, body covered in a black hooded cloak. "Man, why did we have to meet all the way out in the ocean?" "Kid, I think you forgot to activate the anti-chakra sensor seal. Because I sense a chakra signature that just darted off from the coast." "Yeah, I did actually. I didn't think anyone would be this far out to sense me before I activated the seal. Hopefully that was one of the rebels and not someone siding with the Mizukage. Wouldn't want him being tipped off to my arrival before I wanted." As he finished his small conversation with Kurama, he felt a familiar chakra signature from beneath him and let said signature crawl up to his shoulder and wrap itself around the blonde's neck. "Ah! Naruto-sama, how has training been?" exclaimed Galen as he basked in the calming effect of Naruto's chakra. Galen is a water-type dragon who is the older brother of Bis. Galen, who is little larger than his brother, and like his brother he looked like a limbless blue alligator with wings. "Training was very fruitful, but do you mind telling me why we are in the middle of the ocean?" asked Naruto as he rubbed Galen, who was still enjoying the feel of Naruto's chakra. "Well, these mist sensors are incredibly good for one, and we are on the rebels' side of the village, so we don't have to through Yagura's forces to get to the rebels," replied the dragon, breaking himself out of the feel of Naruto's chakra. 4 chakra signatures are approaching the shore at high speed. It's too late to activate my seal, so I'll just have to meet Tem head-on. What do you think, Kurama?" "Might as well. If your chakra signature were to disappear only for them to see you later on, they may react violently," retorted back Kurama. "Galen, who's leading the rebel faction at the moment?" "Well, there is Chojuro, who despite his looks is excellent battle technician. Then there is Ao, who is head over the sensors and in charge of the tracking teams, and finally Mei Terumi, who is head over the whole operation." "Yeah. I remember your detailed reports on each of their abilities. Alright Galen, why don't you go back home so deal with this? Besides, Bis has really missed you. I think he would really appreciate seeing you, especially since I'm not there anymore." "Sure Naruto-sama, but are you positive you don't need me?" "Yes, I am positive. Go back and spend some time with Bis. Also do me a favor and spend time with Nei-chan so she isn't as lonely, worrying herself to death about me." "No problem Naruto-sama. If you need me just summon me and I'll be at beck and call." Poof, disappeared Galen. Taking off his gray hooded cloak, the blonde sealed said cloak in one of his empty storage scrolls. "Why are my eyes itching? Maybe it's my hair in my face and I need to tie it up like Nei-chan is always telling me to," thought Naruto as he took off his dragon mask, rubbing his eyes before putting his mask back on. "Still feels uncomfortable, but I don't have time to worry about that right now," thought Naruto before he sped off towards the shore at Jonin level speed. So it's finally begun. We'll deal with this later." Mei, Chojuro and Ao. Mei and her followers were currently standing in the tree line just along the shore in awe of the massive chakra headed their way. "Ao, Chojuro, stay on guard, but don't provoke a fight, because if possible I would rather not have to go up against anyone or anything that could in terms of chakra out-muscle Yagura," said Mei, receiving nods from the two in agreement. "And you, if this turns ugly, wait for my signal and go evacuate the camps to get as far away from the village as possible," ordered Mei to the censor. Hi Mei-sama, replied a reluctant censor as he didn't like the idea of having to sacrifice their leader but knew he had to follow orders. Next thing they know, a figure came to a skidding stop across the surface of the water. "You four might as well come out, I know you are there," yelled the dark-clothed figure. "What the hell? How did we were here?" questioned a dumbstruck Mei, knowing how elite they were at stealth, yet they were discovered in the blink of an eye. Signaling the others, they made their way out of the tree line to the beach below. Now standing a mere 15 feet away, they now able to drink in the man before them standing at 5 feet 10, dressed in long black cargo pants which were tucked into black mid-shin high boots. A sheathed black guard-less sword with a silver dragon designs hanging from a utility belt. A tight black muscle shirt, black armguards which had what seemed like a diamond embedded in the center, black gloves that had silver-plated knuckles and plate on the back. He wore an ankle-length long-sleeved hooded black leather coat. But what was most notable to them was the pitch-black waist-length hair with shoulder-length bangs framing the sides of his face, covering most of his right eye, which framed his black dragon mask, and a whirlpool headband wrapped around his left bicep. "Let's cut to the chase. Who are you and what the hell are you doing here?" asked Ao, trying his best to sound intimidating and not intimidated. "Well, I am here because I received information on this civil war going on and wanted to help. As for who I am, you can call me Black Dragon," spoke Naruto in a neutral tone. "Okay, Mr. Black Dragon. How do we know you aren't an agent that was sent here by Yagura to kill us? What proof do you have that we trust you?" asked Ao as the four of them studied Naruto's body language to detect any hint of false truth. "I don't have any proof other than my word that I want nothing other than to end this senseless war based on some idiot's twisted views," rebutted the blonde to Ao's proclamation. "And we're just suppo," started Ao before he was cut off by Mei. "That's enough, Ao. I do believe the man is telling the truth." "But Mei-sama, how can you be so sure he could be lying to catch us off guard?" Mei just shook her head at the lead censor. "No, he isn't lying, his eyes tell only truth. That is the one thing on a person's body that will always betray you," finished Mei as she strode up to Naruto and extended her hand towards him. "Nice to meet you. I am Mei Terumi. I am leading the bloodlines against Yagura." Naruto took her hand in his, giving her a firm handshake. "The pleasure is all mine, Mei-sama," spoke the Rinnegan Wilder, hoping to break the tension. "Hey Mei-sama, don't fall for it, he might just be trying to get us to let our guard down." "Ow, shut up before I melt you," said Mei in a sickly sweet voice. "Now I may not be as cautious as Ao is over there, but forgive me for not completely trusting you, as in our position we have to be extremely careful, but I see no reason not to hear you out," explained Mei. "I completely understand the position you are in, but as to not put my village in any danger, I must ask to allow me to keep my identity from you, but I am willing to follow any restrictions you may want to place on me as to not put you in any more of a compromising position than you already are. Mei-sama, if I may, we don't even know how strong he is. This could put us in a dangerous spot if it turns out that he is weak." This didn't sit well with Naruto, as Ao just called him weak, and if it was one thing Naruto loved doing was making those who underestimated him eat crow. "Why don't you test my capabilities as to ease your worry?" said in an eerily dark voice while releasing an large amount of ki, making Ao instantly regret his comments but having a typical male ego keep up appearance as to not seem weak himself. "Since I am sure you are the stronger ninja, there seems to be no better way of proving myself than taking down a high-ranking officer such as yourself, wouldn't you agree?" But before he could reply, the blonde turned to Mei. "That is, if Mei-sama allows it. I see no problem with it so long as you both agree to not use lethal force, okay?" Naruto couldn't help but grin underneath his mask as he thought of all the ways he could destroy Ao. "You know you can be a sadistic bastard sometimes," spoke Kurama from the back of Naruto's mind. "What can I say, he broke one of my taboos, so he is going to pay the penalty. So hand-to-hand combat with C-rank jutsu and lower fine with you?" The air around him has suddenly changed. He is too sure of himself. "I better tread carefully because I may have bitten off more than I can chew." "Fine with me," replied Ao, trying to mask his nervousness. "Now Mei-sama, would you be so kind as to call the match?" "Sure. Fighters ready." Ao dropped into his gentle fist taijutsu stances while Naruto just crossed his arms over his chest, hijime. Ao sped towards the blonde who stood there unmoving as Ao went for an open-handed palm strike aimed at the temple of the head, trying to end the fight by knockout, only to find that he connected with air. He panicked, not knowing where he went, only to find him standing a few feet away from him, leaning up again, a tree, arms still crossed over his chest.
"What the hell, I didn't even see him move," was the collective thought of everyone in the vicinity as Naruto started walking towards Ao, but Ao didn't want to give him any chance to attack, figuring if he could move that fast then there was no telling what else he could do. So Ao unleashed a fury of palm thrusts, finger strikes and spin kicks, only for each and every one to be gracefully dodged.
"I have never seen anyone toy around with Ao like this before. Hell, even I need to give Ao my undivided attention when we spar," thought aloud a flabbergasted Mei. I know, but Mei-sama, look at the guy's movements. There is no wasted motion and so fluid. With movements such as those it would be hard for anyone to touch him no matter how good their taijutsu was, added Chojuro as they continued to watch Ao miss strike after strike. I expected this to be a little tougher seeing as I am going up against a Jonin, but honestly I am a little disappointed, thought Naruto as he dodged a kick aimed at his head. That's not fair, Kit. He falls under the 90% category of average ninja or those who aren't especially talented, while you are more talented, the 10th percentile of prodigies and geniuses. Not to mention you have been studying under 5 dragon masters for the past 5 years, and with your use of shadow clones you technically have a ton of more fighting experience than he does. Hey, he is a Jonin, which is the elite of the village, so he should be able to put up a little better fight, retorted the blonde as he stared impassively at a panting Ao. HMGH, I am not going to argue with you about this because you know I am right and I understand you want to remain humble. Sigh asterisk. I know, but you know I have a disdain for arrogance and I refuse to let it corrupt me. I know, Kit, but it doesn't hurt to admit to being better than others when it's true. Now stop playing with him and finish this, reasoned Kurama. No problem, besides I can't afford to play with him all day now, can I? Naruto shocked the panting Jonin by appearing right in front of him without any indication of moving at all before planting a knee in Ao's stomach, forcing the seasoned vet to double over in one quick movement. Naruto swept Ao's feet from up under him, causing him to become airborne, but before he could hit the ground Naruto repositioned himself and delivered a bone-crushing punch to his chest cavity, smashing him into the ground. Groaned Ao before he felt something cold pressing up against his neck. Looks like I win, said the black dragon as Ao opened his eyes to see the dragon-masked individual standing above him with a black-bladed sword pointed at his jugular. Sigh asterisk. I concede defeat, retorted a defeated Ao as Naruto sheathed his blade and offered Ao a hand to help him up. Sorry if I was a little too rough during the spar, no hard feelings. None taken. If you are truly here to help us out, then we are going to need you to be as ruthless as possible. I would have questioned you if you had given off the feeling of being soft on an enemy no matter how strong you are, explained Ao as he dusted himself off and stretched out a few bruised areas. As I have told Mei-sama, I understand your position and don't expect you to trust me, and if I wasn't prepared to do what must be done I wouldn't be here, said Naruto as he stared impassively into Ao's one visible eye. Okay, that's enough. We need to get back to camp and let everyone know that there is no danger, among other things, came the voice of Mei Terumi, leaving no room for a rebuttal as she and Chojuro started walking towards camp. 10 minutes of tree hopping later they arrived at the campsite, which was nothing special, just multitude of tents that was surrounded by a 20-foot-high wood gate with what Naruto assumed to be Anbu operatives. After greeting everyone in the camp and putting everyone's mind at ease, Mei led them to one of the larger tents where there were 3 people waiting around a table. Some introductions are in order. First we have Aki Natsuki, spoke Mei as she took her seat at the head of the table. Aki has a long, slender body and is usually dressed in a light pink uniform. Head medic Aki is an extremely pretty woman with braided hair and glasses. Nice to meet you, spoke Aki as she gave a light bow. Next we have Berkoli, our residential shinobi trainer. Yo, greeted Berkoli. Berkoli has a masculine, bulky, muscular build and is nearly 6'5". He has short, iron-gray hair, tinged with blue, that exposes his rather thick neck, sturdy chin and short beard that grows from it. He also has abnormally broad shoulders and his forearm is similar to a log in size. Thus he is likely capable of swinging any sword with ease. He has a firm look that matches his low, deep, worn-out and crude voice. Berkoli is over 40 years old. However, despite his age, there is no slackening around his hips, nor are his cheeks split by his high nose bridge. He has countless old wounds, caused by blades and arrows, running across his body. And last but not least we have Diaval, Master Spy. Hello, politely spoke Diaval. Diaval had a bronze armor set on his chest, shoulders, arms, and shins, with a large longsword on his left waist. He had blue hair with long bangs and blue eyes. His clothes under the armor were also blue. It's a pleasure to meet you all. I go by Black Dragon, responded Naruto with a slight wave of his hand. I noticed you wear the headband of Whirlpool on your right shoulder and to my knowledge they were wiped out. So I am curious as to your connection with that village? Asked Aki with a curious look. Well, as I have informed Mei-sama that I couldn't reveal too much information about myself for personal reasons as well as to not put my village in an uncompromising position, But let's just say that this headband is a memento of sorts, replied Naruto as he tapped the headband. And, you agreed to this, knowing the position we are in and that he could possibly betray us? Asked Diaval of his auburn-haired leader. Yes, I agreed to this knowing all of that. Looking into his eyes I can see the sincerity in them, which lets me know that he spoke the truth and I believe he really wants to help us. Well, if Mei-sama is going to give him a chance, then so am I, spoke up Bercoli. I agree as well, came the voice of Aki as they all looked towards Diaval waiting for his response. Fine, I'll give him a chance, but I do not trust him, and if at any point I feel as if he has betrayed us I will take you out myself, expressed the spy master by sending a cold glare towards the blonde. No problem, I expected no less from you considering the predicament you're in. Now that's done, let's move on. Diaval, what's your report? Asked Mei, changing the subject. Nothing's changed, we still don't know the whereabouts of Yagura, but we do know he is somehow relaying his orders to the Anbu. Could he be in one of the underground bunkers? Asked Mei. Diaval just shook his head. No, we've checked all the bunkers and they haven't been touched in months, so that's not even a possibility. Okay. Just continue looking and keep me posted on your progress, ordered an annoyed rebel leader. Hi, Mei-sama, Bercoli, please tell me you have some good news? Well, you're in luck because I actually do, smiled the muscular individual. I have trained the fresh batch up to usable standards as well as completed the last bunch's training so you can start using them on the front lines. Here is a complete list of their individual skills, spoke Bercoli as he slid a stack of paper across the table to Mei. Perfect, I knew I could count on you to give me some good news, smiled Mei as she looked through a few shinobi files. Now please tell me you at least don't have any bad news, Aki, Mei asked hopefully. Sorry Mei-sama, but myself and the other medics are really struggling. We need more medical supplies, said the exasperated medic. May I suggest something? Sure, go right ahead.
There is a hospital in the village, correct? Asked Naruto as he received a round of nods. It's not like we can just go into the village because the Anbu would kill anyone of yous the moment we get even remotely close, spoke Diaval. I know that. I wasn't even going to suggest that. What I wanted to know was, would the hospital carry everything you need?
Aki nodded in confirmation. Well, I can solve this little problem of yours if you provide me with what I need. And what would that be? Asked Mei. First and foremost, I need a list of everything needed from the hospital. Next I need most accurate a schedule for when the Anbu shifts change and an overlay of the hospital. They all looked towards their leader waiting for her to respond. Don't look at me. You heard what he needs, get a move on and meet back here in a couple of hours. Yes ma'am. After everyone was gone leaving Naruto and Mei alone, Mei spoke up. Since we have a couple of hours until we meet again, I am going to take care of a few things that require my attention. So I am going to place a little more of my trust in you and allow you to roam free, but I warn you, don't break that trust, spoke Mei as she released a small amount of ki. I wouldn't dream of it, answered Naruto with a hidden smirk, unfazed by the rebel leader's ki. As to not overstep my boundaries, would it be alright if I were to leave the camp? Asked the blonde. Sure, go right ahead, but remember my warning. I thank you for your leeway, Mei-sama, replied the dragon-masked individual with a slight bow before walking out of the tent. Are you sure it is okay to let him to roam free like this? Came a voice from behind Mei. Not even bothering to turn around, she answered nonchalantly. Yes, he will be fine. I just get this feeling that I can trust him. Alright, I will go with what you say and allow him to roam freely. With Naruto was currently leaping from branch to branch headed towards the southwest of the rebel camp. Kit. Yay, Kurama. What is it? I need you to find a nice quiet meditation spot. There is something I need to tell you, said the nine-tailed fox from inside of Naruto's mind. What do you have to tell me? Naruto asked curiously. I'll tell you after you have done what I said. A few minutes later, the Rinnegan wielder arrived at a small pond surrounded by trees in a secluded area of the forest. Walking over to the pond, Naruto gets into the lotus position, watching a few fish dance around under the water. Well, Kurama wa uggh, started Naruto before a pounding headache hit him like a ton of bricks. This is what I wanted to tell you. Your Rinnegan is finally tuning to your body, and that is the pain you are feeling. You need to accept it and not fight it, or it can kill you. Screamed Naruto as the pain started to increase, feeling as if something was trying to pierce his forehead from the inside out. Kit, please just accept it, don't fight it, please. Knowing Kurama wouldn't steer in the wrong direction, listened to him and gave in, but what happened next shocked him. His Rinnegan came to life in all its cerulean blue glory. Then the elements started to encase around his body. The wind picked up, forming a small whirlwind of sorts around him. Lightning started dancing around his body. Small rocks began to come out of the ground and spin with the wind. A small portion of water let the pond and formed small circle in which it looked like a flowing river. Before he knew it, Naruto was levitating a few inches off the ground with the elements swirling around him and his chakra spiking to heights, making it become visible. Wow, was the only thought the fox could come up with as he felt this power from inside Naruto. Suddenly Naruto was pulled into a deep meditative state where he could actually feel the spinning of the earth and the pull the earth had over the moon. The next thing he knew, he was hit with what he would as pure unadulterated power in what seemed to come in 3 different forms. Concentrating on the strongest energy, and in doing so found the source of said energy, the sun. Moving to the next source, he found this power similar, only this power was dark. The moon. Why is this power so dark while the sun's power is so full of life? Deciding to move on from that thought, he felt an energy similar yet different to both the sun and moon coming from the surrounding area. Whether it be the ground, the trees, the water, or even the air itself. Naruto reached out to touch it before a booming voice came from inside his mind, stopping him in his tracks. "Don't touch that, Kurama." "Yay? Kit, it's me. Don't touch that energy. That is nature chakra. Something you are not ready for and highly dangerous to those who don't know what they are doing." "I would listen to him if I were you," a strange yet deep voice said from behind Kurama, making them both jump. "Who are you and how did you get here?" Kurama asked. A black started to form until a silhouette of a large with a glowing left green eye and a glowing right blue eye. "You're not ready for that yet, but you will know in time. For now follow the fox's advice and stay away from natural chakra," and with that the dragon disappeared. Naruto thought on what he said for a second before putting it to the back of his mind to bring this up to Jigen whenever he saw him again. Kurama broke him out of his thought. "Now as you have accepted your true Rinnegan, reign in your power and control it before too much attention is brought to you." Doing what Kurama says, Naruto reigns in his chakra and descends back to the ground right in front of the pond, where then the elements surrounding him disperse. Naruto was gearing up to talk to Kurama when he saw his reflection in the water and noticed his Rinnegan had changed from its cerulean blue to an metallic purple. He had grown about 2 inches and his chest as well as his arms filled out slightly. "Kurama, what was all that about?" "Well, something that the Uzumaki didn't know is that the Rinnegan is a dojutsu that must choose its wielder, and that is what happened." "What do you mean choose?" "Though there were those who were able to activate the dojutsu, they were only able to gain 3 abilities. Control over the 5 basic elements as well as sub-elements, the ability to summon multiple animals, and control over gravity. The other abilities escaped them. The chosen ones amongst the Rinnegan wielders' abilities were infinity stronger than those who just happened to activate it." Silently taking in what Kurama had told him as he stared at his reflection while wordlessly sorting through the subtle information the Rinnegan had been feeding him, understanding the weight of his eyes. After a couple of hours of meditation, chakra control to lower regular chakra output, and tossing around a few jutsu to test his new control of the elements, Naruto was now headed back to the rebel camp as night has just fallen. "With Mei and her gathering, where is he?" sounded off a frustrated Broccoli. "Yay, he asked for all this and now he is late," agreed Diaval as he looked at all the paperwork to find what he was looking for. "Calm down. I told him he could have some free time while you did everything required, besides it's not like you have been here long, it has only been 3 minutes. "I agree with Mei-sama. Besides, if my memory is correct, that is his chakra signature, then he should be walking in here at any moment," finished Aki a few seconds before Black Dragon walked in. "Sorry if I am late, I was doing a little training and lost a track of time." "Is it just me or did he get a little taller?" whispered Broccoli to himself. "No problem, Dragon. Now they have gathered what you asked for. Would you enlighten us on why you needed those things as well as your plan?" "Well, I am a master at stealth and as such would need information on where I am breaking into." Diaval stood up and unrolled what looked like blueprints. "Your best option would be to enter from the south. Every hour there is a member of the hospital staff that takes out the garbage." Aki walked over and took over where Diaval took over. "Once you are in, take the stairwell to go to the 5th floor and look for research room 15. It will have everything on this list," finished Aki as she handed over a list of medical supplies. "The Anbu in that area change shifts in exactly 48 minutes, which is the weakness in their protection scheme." "Thank you, I should be back in about an hour and a half," said Naruto as he pocketed the list and walked out of the tent. 20 minutes later Naruto was currently wearing his hood up with his invisibility seal activated while crouched down on top of a building across from the hospital. I give them credit, they keep this place heavily secured. What do you expect? They are in an internal war, so they would need to keep their wounded protected. I understand that, it's just I didn't think they would have this many Anbu. I mean, I sense at least 50 without counting those who are inside. Pay attention, someone is coming out, said Kurama, getting Naruto's attention as what looked like a middle-aged male came out of the back of the hospital carrying huge trash bags to the dumpster. Acting quickly, Naruto made it through the double doors before the janitor could close the doors. After the janitor was back inside, he went straight for the elevator while unbeknown to him an intruder had already entered the stairwell. It will be too suspicious to just open the door myself, so I better just wait for someone to come through.
Before he knew it, a doctor came through the doors, heading down the stairs. Quickly, Naruto jumped through the door as to not alert the descending doctor.
Okay. Now I need to find research room 15 inches, thought Naruto as he paced through the hospital past the reception deck, checking the rooms as he passed by, careful to not touch anyone or anything in his search. Get him into room 3026 stat, yelled one of the nurses as she directed the medics down the hall. Unfortunately for Naruto, they were speeding towards his direction, but purely on reflex he jumped over them, going completely unnoticed. Ignoring the commotion going on, Naruto continues his search. Research room 15, finally, exclaimed the blonde mentally as he entered the room while silently closing and locking the door behind him. Shadow clone jutsu, called out Naruto as 10 solid clones appeared. You have 3 minutes to grab everything in this room and divide them into 3 categories: medical tools, medicine, and painkillers. Now go. Over the next couple of minutes all you can see is blurs of black moving items all across the room. After they finished, Naruto expelled them immediately, poof, getting the feeling that he needed to get out of there. Let's seal these into scrolls and get out of here. Wasting no time at all, he quickly sealed up everything. Putting away the scrolls safely, he reactivated the invisibility seal and exited the room, making it a priority to get out as quickly as possible. A stealthy escape later led Naruto to the rooftops of the village's edge, where he was far enough to relax a little as he channeled chakra into his legs and jumped over the village wall. Beginning his descent into the trees below, he channeled wind chakra into the soles of his feet to slow down his rapid descent for a graceful landing. After his landing, a thought crossed his mind that he overlooked. The village security was quite a bit more lax than it was when he infiltrated a little while back. What's going on? Where are the Anbu? Thought Naruto as he expanded his senses, searching for the missing Anbu. In his search, his senses located the Anbu in very close proximity of the rebel camp. Oh no, what are they doing over there? No time, I need to get over there and fast, thought Naruto as he threw the hood of his blonde hair. Lightning style. Lightning armor jutsu, called out Naruto as he started channeling massive amounts of lightning chakra through his body, covering himself in a vortex of electricity so strong that the earth beneath his feet began to shake and crumble. Boy, do I love the feeling of this jutsu, said mentally as he zipped across the earth in a streak of lightning, destroying the ground as he went. Back with the rebel camp, Mai-sama, yelled an Anbu as he came bursting into the command tent unannounced. What is going on? Asked the concerned rebel leader. There are Anbu squads closing in on the camp, expressed the subordinate. Immediately Mai jumped into action. I'll take Diavol with you and go with Formation V. Before turning to Bercoli, gather up those who are ready to fight. I am not sending out anyone who is not ready to fight, and Aki, prepare for more patience. Now go. Yes ma'am, they all said in union, all rushing out now, having their assignments. Dragon, if you have anything to do with this, then I will personally end you, thought Mai with a hint of malice. With Ao and Diavol, OK, units 4 through 6 are going to reinforce the perimeter with Formation V, while 1 through 3 are going with Ao, ordered Diavol to the gathered rebel Anbu. Yes sir, replied all units before body flickering to their desired locations following their individual orders. Earth style. Earth wall jutsu, called out the members of units 4, 5 and 6 from around the gates, completely surrounding the area with 20-foot high 10 feet thick earth walls. After the rising of the walls, units 1 through 3 followed Ao's lead and jumped atop the walls, poised with bows and arrows. Sensory unit, I need all of you to expand the range as far as you possibly can so there are no surprise attacks, said Diavol from next to Ao, doing his own San of the Forest as said unit silently followed orders. A couple minutes later after completing their sensory sweep of the surrounding area with an estimate of their numbers. Sir, we have completed our sweep and by our estimate there are around 20 Anbu level ninja circling our perimeter and around 30 ninja with chakra levels ranging from Chunin to Jonin hanging back. From what we assume they are awaiting an order or signal, a masked Anbu reported back to Diaval. Damn. Okay, tell Ao to get the archers in position now because this is not going to be easy. Yes sir, replied back as he body flickered away to Ao. Ao. Diaval has asked that you get into position based on their formations around the perimeter. Told the Anbu before they suddenly felt a spike in chakra from behind them as they heard, water style. Water dragon jutsu when a large serpent-like dragon made of water rushed towards the risen walls. Move away from the walls. Yelled Ao just before a mop of blue hair streaked in front of the water dragon with his haramekure drawn glowing blue from the chakra emitting from it as he slashed right through technique squelch as the water fell harmlessly to the ground on each side of him splash then he body flickered back atop the perimeter wall. Thanks Chojuro, you saved us there, said Ao. No problem, but get it together, looks like they're regrouping, replied Chojuro as he pointed his sword towards the forest. Outside the camp's perimeter while the rebels were covering all bases to prepare for the inevitable oncoming attack, the estimated 30 other ninja were getting impatient. What the hell is taking them so long? We should have received the signal by now, asked an impatient Chunin. Calm down. You know that if it's taking this long then they are working on plan B. Then you can have your fun alright Danmit? Exclaimed one of the few Jonin leaders not liking the Chunin's thirst for blood as she thinks it's too over the top. Well, before he could finish his thought Earthwall sprang from the ground trapping them leaving only a rear entrance and just as they all turned around to get out of this trap a streak of blue lightning covering an individual appeared but before they could drink in his appearance he ran through hand signs faster than anything they had ever seen before calling out, Earth style. Swamp of the underworld. Changing the surface of the earth beneath the enemy into mud and creating a swamp the adhesive. Chakra-infused mud ensnared the enemy's body, making it impossible to recover one's strength and escape from the swamp. Reaching his right-gloved hand out he called out, Universal Pull, as an invisible force yanked the bloodthirsty Chunin out of the adhesive mud directly into the awaiting hand. What are you doing here? Asked the figure in a voice that wasn't in the least bit pleased. As he opened his eyes to get a good look at him, two things jumped out at him. The first was the black dragon mask he was wearing and the second were his weird purple eyes that seemed to burrow right through his soul. I believe I asked you a question. It would do you well to answer me when I have spoken to you, he said to him with more venom this time, and for added effect he had lightning dancing from his shoulder to his wrist as if his lightning armor was threatening to activate once again. It was why Yagura-sama. He told us to wipe out the bloodline scum, stuttered the frightened Chunin. There, that wasn't so hard, all I need was some information, mocked the dark voice as he released him and disappeared from view, which caused the Chunin to let out a sigh of relief. Squelch. The Chunin felt a pain he has never felt before. As he looked down he saw a black blade coming out of where his heart should be. But unfortunately you must die, as he pulled the blade from his heart, dropping him to the ground as he took his last few breaths on earth. No, screamed a couple of the ninja who were still stuck in the swamp, who he had almost forgot about, but ran through a couple of hand seals calling out, Fire style. Grand fireball technique. As expelled from his mouth was a massive orb of roaring flame. The released flames engulf their target, and leave a crater on the ground surface. Blast. How far will you go, Yagura? Thought Naruto as he activated his lightning armor once more as he disappeared in a streak of lightning headed towards the rebel camp. Rebel camp. Pant. Chojuro, take it easy. Here's a chakra pill. Try to stop using so much chakra, said a worried Ao, throwing a chakra pill at Chojuro while have taken down an Anbu via chakra-infused crossbow. Thanks, I'll try, but it needs to be done. Otherwise Yagura gets exactly what he wants. Our deaths, shot back Chojuro as he popped the chakra pill into his mouth. Water style. Water dragon jutsu, called out three Anbu who appeared out of a body flicker, summoning three large serpent-lick dragons made entirely of water coming at the wall to fast for anyone to react fast enough to stop the techniques. Shit. Get away from the walls, shouted Diaval as he saw the entire thing unfold before his very eyes, knowing Chojuro didn't have the charka to stop them this time, but what he saw net shocked him as he had never seen anything like it before. A flash of blue appeared in front of the water dragons, revealing Black Dragon as he called out, Jutsu absorption. as a clear almost invisible sphere encased his body, absorbing all the chakra from the techniques, causing the waster to fall harmlessly to the ground splash. As Ao and Chojuro looked up, they saw Black Dragon standing on the edge of the wall with his long unruly blonde hair flowing with the wind. "Are you all right?" asked the Black Dragon of Ao and Chojuro. "I am, but Chojuro has chakra exhaustion even with the chakra pill, so I think he is done for tonight," replied back Ao, but as soon as the words he thought, "Why am I answering to him?" Turning around, Naruto did a quick scan of the forest and noticed that the attacker masked their chakra, but with his sensing abilities they can't completely hide from him, only throw him off a little. "Let's see you hide from these," thought Naruto as he activated his Rinnegan, giving him the neat ability of seeing chakra. He picked up on them immediately about 80 yards away, seemingly standing there for no reason. Not bothering to turn around, Naruto just told Ao and Chojuro, "I'll handle the rest. Take care of the injured. Oh, before I forget here," as he tossed 3 scrolls he pulled from belt and tossed over his shoulder. "Get those to Aki," he finished by completely disappearing from view. Damn, he has some serious speed. I have never seen anyone move half as fast as him, and the scary thing is I think that is only a small portion of his actual speed. Devil, I am taking Chojuro to the medical bay area. Can you handle the rest without me for a few minutes? Said Ao, snapping Diavel out of his frozen state. Huh. Oh yeah, replied, still shocked by what he just saw. What the hell was that? Was it a force field of some kind? But it looked like it negated the attack somehow. No time to think about it, snapping himself from his thoughts as he saw Ao juping away with Chojuro. Okay everyone, we are switching to defense formation B, ordered Diavel. Yes sir, came the approving chorus. With Naruto. Naruto was currently jumping through the trees coming up on the Anbu, who were just standing around, but if Naruto had to guess, were discussing strategy. Hey Sieg, you ready? Naruto aced mentally as he drew his sword while still on the move. Always young master, the sword replied back through the mental link. Good, because we're going with Sonic Blade, finished Naruto as the blade went from black to an almost glowing neon white while giving off an low-pitched screeching sound. Arriving about 150 feet away from where they were standing, with his heightened senses he could hear everything they were saying. Who the hell was that? I never heard of anyone with those abilities. I don't know, but his chakra was off the charts. I think he has more chakra than Yagura-sama. I think he took out the reserve post, because I can't sense them and they wouldn't just leave their position without warning. We need to get this information back to Yagura-sama now. Oh, I'm not about to let them do that, thought Naruto as he used his newly completed jutsu, the lightning step, which he channels a precise amount of lightning chakra from the soles of his feet to his hips, increasing his speed to the equivalent of a lightning strike. Appearing in front of 2 of them and slashing them horizontally, separating their torso from their waist as easily as a hot knife through butter. He looked up and saw the wide eyes from remaining 3 Anbu from behind their masks. You won't be telling anyone anything, he spoke in a dark voice. Reacting out of fear from 2 opposing sides, 2 of them quickly ran through handseals and blew out 2 large fireballs, hoping to incinerate him, but what he did next scared them even more. He reached his hand out to once again absorb the chakra from the jutsus, jutsu absorption, after which he disappeared once again behind a lone Anbu and stabbed him directly through the heart, letting him fall lifelessly to the ground before dashing across the earth at high speed with the other 2 still standing in shock. Without breaking stride, he turned his blade into a reverse grip, and as he passed between where the 2 of them were standing, he sliced through their necks with ease as their heads rolled off their shoulders and bodies went limp. That completes that, he mumbled to himself as he deactivated the sonic blade and used a small water jutsu to clean his blade of any traces of blood before resheathing it and taking off through the trees back to the rebel camp. A few minutes later, Naruto arrives back at the camp and lets them know he took care of everything. Not that they all believed him, in which he told him that they could send someone to check as the bodies were still out there. Don't worry about it, Mai-sama wants to see you, came a voice from behind everyone. When they turned around they saw it was Ao. Seeing Ao, the blonde just nodded and went to see what the busty rebel leader wanted. Lower the walls but stay on alert, and anyone who needs medical attention needs to let the medic know when they get here, ordered Ao as turned and followed the blonde. Mei's tent. You wanted to see me? Asked Naruto as walked into the tent, noticing she was alone. Yes, please have a seat, the beautiful rebel leader pointed to an empty chair. I want to thank you for today. While I was running around trying to get things prepared for that attack, you handled it single-handedly, so I thank you. She stood up and bowed deeply to the Black Dragon. There's no need for that. I have already told you I will not allow Yagura to continue on with this pointless war. Not that it doesn't stroke my ego to see a beautiful yet powerful leader such as yourself bow to me. I only want to help." Noticing the small blush across her face, he decided not to push his luck and stood up. "If you don't mind, I would like to retire for tonight." "And no problem, would you like a tent?" offered a clearly flustered Mei, who wasn't used to being the flirty but the flirter. "No, I'm going to sleep out in the woods. I prefer to be closer to nature. Good night, Mei-sama," as he pulled up his mask a little to give her hand a light kiss through his face mask before leaving. "Good night, Dragon-kun," replied Mei as she held the hand that he just kissed as he waved while going through the tent flaps. 7 months later. It's been 7 months since Naruto aka Black Dragon has arrived at the Hidden Mist village with the full intent of stopping the civil war. His arrival completely changed the tide of the war to the point that they are back in control of the village. Those who feigned the idea of hating bloodlines are now able to openly associate with their friends again. The rebels returned to their homes and there hasn't been a problem based on discrimination in over 2 months, but the problem is that they haven't been able to find Yagura or those most loyal to him since he disappeared and they took back over the village. Mei was currently sitting behind the Mizukage's desk going over reports. Some good, some bad. Good news to her was that with them taking back over the village they have recovered about 70% of their strength, but the bad news was that the other 30% was part of the village's elite and they had apparently sided with Yagura when he disappeared, and knowing this she sees the tough road ahead to recovering that strength as well as executing those who sided with Yagura. Sai, the 20-year-old, let out a sigh as she turned around in her chair to look out the window. "I am definitely not about to take on this job permanently. As soon as I find a suitable replacement and kill Yagura, I am going back to Jonin," the busty woman said to herself, referring to her status as temporary Mizukage. "Why not keep the job? Besides, no one in this village can even hope to make that hat look as good as you do," came an all too familiar voice. "Flattery will get you everywhere, Dragon-kun," she replied as she swung around in her chair before getting up and walking over to where he's sitting on her desk with his legs and arms crossed, adding a little more than necessary sway into her hips as she closed the distance and wrapped her arms around his neck before whispering in his ear. Or should I say Naruto-kun? Over the months they had gotten extremely close. They had become extremely close, being literally the only man to treat her as a true woman and not just some piece of meat, while doing it without an ulterior motive, and to add fuel to the fire, the strength and intelligence he showed on the battlefield made him a truly powerful ally and friend. But what really pushed their friendship to new heights was about 3 months ago when one of the lower-ranked ninja got completely smashed after a celebration of taking back control of the village and started spouting sexist comments about Mei and how a woman could never hope to be a competent leader. Unaware she could hear every word, but before she could react, Naruto grabbed him by his throat and smashed him up against the wall and pressing a kunai up against his neck before giving him some good advice. "Listen here, you little worm. You have played a very little role in taking back this village, yet you dare talk about someone who could very well be the strongest in the village after Yagura is taken down. If I were you, I would watch my mouth before it writes a check that my ass couldn't cash, because that could very well be seen as a threat on your new Mizukage." Naruto finished by dropping him to the ground as the mont's eyes widened, realizing the huge mistake he had made by insulting her, and apologized profusely, but Mei brushed it off because she was more concerned with the man who had she been falling for since he arrived. Pulling herself from her thoughts, Mei lifted Naruto's dragon mask, making his hair go from black to bright blonde, and lowered his face mask, all the while moving his long sun-kissed golden hair out of the way, and attempted to kiss him, only for Naruto's finger stop her just short of his marks. "We have had this conversation before. I have a girlfriend, I simply can't allow anything more than a hug," Naruto said as she pushed him away a little and looked him right in the eye while her arms were still wrapped around his neck. Sigh asterisk. "You know, sometimes you make me feel so undesirable," Mei pouted as she turned around and walked away from him, only to have him roll his one visible eye. "Oh, stop before I tell Ao about your excessive flirting," teased Naruto, knowing how much an annoyance Ao was towards Mei. "Well, now there is no need for that," Mei pouted a little more. She let out a unladylike grunt as she walked away from him and went to sit behind her desk, which they were leaning on. "You clearly didn't come to have any fun, so you must have come for business," Mei said as she sat back in her chair, looking Naruto into his sapphire blue eyes. "Sadly no. I came to let you know that I need to leave for a few days," said Naruto as he pushed himself off the desk and walked over to the window, watching the civilians go about their day through the misted village while he readjusted his lower face mask and placing his dragon mask back on top. Mei looked saddened at the news he just brought her, not wanting to see her blonde love leave. Something wrong, Mei? She flinched a little as he brought her out of her thoughts. No, just worrying if we run into Yagura without you, if we can handle it, she replied. You can handle it, but if you can't, just throw this and I'll be there in a flash, said Naruto as he handed her a flying thunder god kunai, enticing a smile from Mei. Now that I have solved that, why don't you tell me what's really bothering you? Pulling off his mask and placing it on his belt so she could see his eyes better, which reflected how serious he was being. What are you talking about? Stuttered Mei, from being caught off guard by the seriousness of his look as well as his voice. Mei, I know you too well, so you might as well tell me what's going on and get it off your chest, because something is clearly bothering you, shot back Naruto, letting her know he wasn't relenting, and to reinforce it he grabbed her left hand to start rubbing it with his own left thumb. Sighing to herself, she just relented. He clearly knows me too well, thought Mei as she mentally smiled to herself as she got up and motioned for Naruto to sit where she was just sitting, to which he complied as she sat atop the desk. Before I tell you, I just want to preference myself by saying I do love my village, commented Mei as she felt Naruto tilt his head in confusion. You do realize you are talking to someone who knows you better than you give him credit for and has watched the sacrifices you have made for this village over the past 7 months on a daily basis. So don't try to convince me of something I already know, said Naruto while leaning back in the chair. Okay, well, this problem of mine has been going on for years, since I was in the academy. In fact, I have always felt that I didn't belong here, said Mei as she avoided Naruto's eyes, scared of what they would show. What do you mean, felt like you didn't belong? Was it the people of the village who made you feel like that? Asked a concerned Naruto. No, it wasn't any of the villagers. In fact, only a few bigoted idiots who feel that women should just fall in line have ever made me unwelcomed, exclaimed Mei with a slight scowl on her face, which confused Naruto a little. I am still lost as to why you would feel you didn't belong, questioned Naruto. As am I, but if I had to put it into simpler terms, it would be like visiting someone else's home. To them it's home, but to you it's just another house, explained Mei as she could almost feel the light bulb go off in his head. I have a question for you. How strongly does this feeling of yours go? Asked Naruto of Mei. It's incredible, but for some reason whenever I am near you that feeling is all but forgotten, said Mei as she drew imaginary circles with her finger on his chest. I guess we are more alike than I thought. What do you mean? Asked Mei, looking into Naruto's eyes. Naruto broke eye contact and looked up at the ceiling. Since I have left my village all those years ago in order to train, whenever I would think about my eventual return, something in the back of my head would be screaming at me not to go back, said a solemn Naruto as he saw Mei mentally sympathize with him. How do you deal with the feeling that you are betraying the very people you fight to protect? Asked Mei. My case is different from yours. You have fought long and hard and you are nearly there in terms of bringing the village back to its former glory, so I don't think you can be blamed if it's space from the village you require, replied Naruto as he ran his glove-covered right hand through his long blonde hair. What do you mean your case is different, Naruto-kun? Asked Mei, feeling a little better from Naruto's words. That's a story for another time, but maybe you need time to yourself after we find Yagura. Knock knock. Hearing the knocks at the door made Mei jump off of the desk and him out of the chair, calmly stood up. Relax there, I placed my personal privacy seal on the room when I entered. Naruto used what is known as the Uzumaki style privacy dome, which is multiple times stronger than the strongest privacy seals, allowing no sounds at all to escape, even being able to disable implanted listening devices in the surrounding area. Unclipping his dragon mask from his belt, got behind Mei as she walked to the door and put his hand on the door to stop her from opening it. Remember, I am only a flick of a kunai away. Which caused a small smile to appear on her face. Better go before Ao gets impatient, thought Naruto as he put his dragon mask back on, turning his hair back to black as he heard another knock at the door, so he released the privacy seal, gave Mei one last hug and disappeared in a flash of yellow light. When Mei answered the door, it was Ao standing there with a small stack of papers and a look saying he wanted to talk about something. Hello Mei-sama. What were you doing with the door locked? Greeted, asked Ao. Turning away from him and wailing back to her desk as Ao closed the door and placed the papers on said desk after making his way across the room. I was taking a little nap after I had finished most of my paperwork, replied Mei as she started on her paperwork again. These are from the secretary. She told me to bring them to you on my way to see you, said Ao, taking a seat across the desk from the intern Mizukage. So what do you need from me? Asked Mei, not even bothering to look up from her paperwork. I was wondering if you knew where Black Dragon was. I haven't been able to find him at all today? He came by earlier to tell me he has to leave the village for a few days. What, and you just let him leave like that? Exclaimed Ao. First of all, calm down before I kill you, said Mei as she released low amounts of ki, making Ao sit back in his chair and do exactly what she just said and calm down. Second of all, he is not a ninja of this village, so I can't keep him here against his will. Besides, he has done more than enough for the Mist Village and has earned my complete trust. I would have thought he would have earned yours as well by now, finished the auburn-haired beauty as she leaned back into her chair while awaiting Ao's response. While looking down trying to process Mei's words, he responded, I just can't bring myself to trust someone I know nothing about. Sigh asterisk. I can understand that, Ao, but try to understand the position he is in. He is not even supposed to be here, yet here he is going up against Yagura for our sakes, especially with how many times he saved your ass. The least you could do is not be so outright suspicious of every move he makes, answered Mei. Go think back on all the times you have interacted with him as well as seen him interact with others, and try to keep an objective mind and try to find any reason he has given you to be suspicious of him and come back if find something, finished Mei as Ao got up and gave a respectful bow before leaving to think on his conversation with Mei. In the dragon realm there was a curvy yet slender, dark-skinned woman of average height, with golden-colored eyes and long purple hair, which she keeps up in a ponytail. Her standard attire consists of a black, backless, sleeveless undershirt, an orange overshirt covering her D-cup breasts with 2 white straps on each shoulder, a large beige sash around her waist, and black stretch pants which clung to her perfectly sculpted ass with a pair of lightweight brown shoes, which allow for stealth. She was wearing long beige wrist and leg warmers, each secured by bands. She was holding a katana at her side, looking prepared to strike. She was standing in the middle of a small cluster of trees with her right hand hovering above her sword as she attacked with blinding speed and disappearing from view as metal-on-metal clashes rung throughout the area. Clang 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 clang, reappearing back in her original spot as kunai fell from the trees harmlessly to the ground while sheathing her sword. Clap clap clap. Hearing the clapping, she turned around to see Jigen the Master Dragon in human form with an amused look on his face. As deadly as always, Yoruichi, spoke Jigen as he walked towards her. Thank you. I guess, but what are you doing here? Asked a newly dubbed Yoruichi. What, I can't come watch you train? Questioned Jigen in fake shock. You can, but you usually only do so when you either want me to do something or if you have some information for me, so which is it? Spoke Yoruichi with the same emotionless voice, to which Jigen frowned at this. I miss Naruto-sama. When he is around you so much nicer, exclaimed Jigen before being pulled out of his thoughts by Yoruichi's response. Sigh asterisk. I don't have time for time, what is it that you want? Spoke Yoruichi, clearly not up for his antics. Fine. The gears of fate have started turning once again, spoke Jigen with a completely serious attitude while waiting for Yoruichi's reaction. Surprisingly, her reaction wasn't what he expected. Jigen expected her to be happy, but she wasn't. He could feel how downcast she was about the news. Before he could ask her what was wrong, she asked a question of her own. How mad do you think he will be with us? Me probably only mildly for withholding information from him, but I don't think he could be mad ever, especially once he finds out the truth. Jigen spoke as he leaned up against a tree. Besides, you were only following orders and Naruto-sama isn't the type of person to hold a grudge, so he'll understand once he learns the truth. This made Yoruichi perk up a little. I truly hope so. Hidden Mist Village. On the outer edge of the Hidden Mist Village there was a flash of yellow light that revealed a dark-clad blonde known as Black Dragon. The Uzumaki Namikaze checked his surroundings using his sensory skills to make sure he was alone, which he was before removing his Black Dragon mask to clip it to his utility belt. URG. Hey Naruto, what's the plan for today? Yawned Kurama as he woke up from inside the seal. So, lazy decided to finally wake up, retorted Naruto as he made sure the stones covering the Hiraishin kunai remained in place. You try sleeping in a sewer for 8 years and see how lazy you become after returning to comfortable environment like the one you provided me with, spoke Kurama, referring to the mindscape change from a dingy sewer to the largest, most beautiful forest, the millennium-old fox, as he stretched some kinks out. I might not have slept in a sewer, but dark alleys next to garbage cans are close enough, thought back Naruto as he went back to the beach and stood about 15 feet away from the incoming tides. Sorry, forgot about that, don't worry about it. You know I don't blame you for what has happened to me. I know you don't, and that's what make me feel so bad, because it is my fault. And I really don't want to have this type of conversation with you. I have told you over and over again that you shouldn't feel bad as none of what happened was your fault. Besides, if those events hadn't have happened the way they did, I might not have met my big brother, huh? Kurama ni. Hey, itouht, I told you not to call me that, roared Kurama from inside the seal at Naruto's teasing. Ha 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 ha, chill out, I am only joking, laughed Naruto internally before explaining to Kurama what was going on. We're about to head to Whirlpool. Whirlpool? Why are we headed there? Asked Kurama. Ever since the start of my training I have had this undeniable pull towards Whirlpool, and it's only gotten stronger each year since, thought the blonde before rubbing the village's headband ties to his right bicep. And when Jigen gave me this headband and said that I would need this, made me think he is hiding something from me. Yeah, but didn't he say why you would need it? He did. But something just felt off. I don't think it's anything major, just something he is not willing to tell me yet, thought the teen as he slammed his hand on the ground and called out summoning jutsu as black kanji spread across the ground and a poof of smoke cleared to reveal a royal blue four-legged dragon about twice the size of a large horse with razor-sharp teeth and claws in addition to two extremely large wings on its back. Naruto-sama, squealed the dragon in an unexpected female voice as she tackled Naruto to the ground, nuzzling her head into his chest. Ha ha ha, hey Saphira. I see you missed me, giggled Naruto from the actions of the lightning dragon, even earning a small chuckle from Kurama before being allowed to get up off the ground. Why did you summon me, Naruto-sama? Asked the dragon, still nuzzling her head into Naruto, who welcomed the gesture by rubbing the top of her head. I need you to fly me to Whirlpool. A smile appeared on the dragon's face as she backed away and spread her massive wings. Well, what are you waiting for? Hop on, chuckling at the Saphira's excitement. He just silently hopped on her back. Hold on tight, Naruto-sama, I have gotten a lot faster since the last time, spoke Saphira as she began to gallop as a horse would at high speed and flapping her wings before becoming airborne. Within a matter of seconds they were at a high enough altitude to where they could see the entire Mist Village. During the entire ordeal Naruto could only think about how much Saphira had progressed. Just a couple of months ago she could barely sustain flight with me on her back for more than 30 minutes. Now look at her potential rearing its ugly head, thought the Rinnegan wielder before being pulled out of his thought by the object of those very thoughts. So Naruto-sama, how much do you think I have improved? You have greatly improved, Saphira. From the time before I left to this moment, I can truly say there is no comparison. This comment made Saphira happier than she had been in a long time, so much so that she sped up to the point of approaching sonic speeds. Holding on to Saphira tightly, Naruto leaned up near her ear, fighting against the passing winds. Slow down, Saphira, yelled to make sure she heard him over the sound of the wind. After slowing down to an acceptable speed of around 100 miles per hour, Saphira apologized to her young master. I am sorry, Naruto-sama. I was just so happy that you approve of my improvement that I couldn't hold myself back. Hey, I wasn't yelling at you, I was just making sure you heard me. Reina told me that during your flights you seem to tune out the rest of the world. I resent that. Besides, that's only when I want to relax, just like when you are tending to your garden or cooking. This earned a small laugh from Naruto for her initial outburst. Calm down, I was only kidding, said the blonde as he watched the clouds pass from below. The two continued their catching up until they reached their destination, Whirlpool. Upon their arrival to Whirlpool they decided to circle around the island so Naruto could scan the island to see if he felt any active seals, which he did. So he advised Saphira to not get too close to the island and he just use his control over gravity to descend to the island. Saphira, I'll handle it from here, go back and I'll summon you again later. Alright, Naruto-sama. See you later, Saphira replied back as Naruto jumped off into a free fall towards the island before she disappeared in a plume of smoke. Poof. As Naruto continued his free fall, he activated his Rinnegan and slowed his momentum until he softly landed on the ruined island. Once his feet hit the ground he was hit with two emotions, anger and grief. The cause of this is from what he couldn't see from above the island that he is clearly seeing now, the remains of his clansmen and their attackers. Naruto's anger was spiking his Rinnegan's power and his control was slipping, causing some of the remains along with pieces of the ruble started to float in the air around Naruto. Naruto, screamed Kurama at Naruto, breaking him from the trance he had lost himself in. I know how you are feeling, but don't lose control. You don't want to decimate the rest of the village, do you? Asked the nine-tailed fox of his Jinchuriki. And no, I didn't think it could possibly be this bad, and when I think about how outnumbered they were, all because they thought my people were too strong, it pisses me off to no end. Some of these remains are of fucking children. Kurama, I don't want to succumb to revenge, but seeing this makes me want to destroy all those held responsible. Kit, I understand. The Uzumaki were some of the only people I truly respected, not only because of their strength and skill but because of the type of people they were as a whole. The one thing they followed was family first, and it's something to be admired, explained Kurama as Naruto regained control of his Rinnegan abilities as the remains and ruble hit the ground with low-sounding thuds. Thank you, Kurama, for stopping me from hurting my clansmen any more than they have already been. No problem, Kit, but how about we look around a little before you destroy what's left of the island, replied Kurama before another voice chimed in. May I make a suggestion, young master? See, sure, what is it? The tower in the center that seems to be the only thing somewhat intact. Head there, looking to said tower. Naruto couldn't describe it, but it felt like something was drawing him towards that very tower. Wiping that thought from his mind for now, he held up a cross-hand seal and called out, Shadow Clone Jutsu, as 100 copies of Naruto appeared. I want all of you to gather all the remains of my clansmen and find a spot to bury them, and I also need you to burn the remains of all the rock, cloud and mist ninja, ordered Naruto of his clones. Hi boss, replying back in union was the clones before going about their orders. Naruto quickly started running toward the center of the village, where the only intact building resided. Once he reached the building, he wasted no time and jumped through a broken window at the top floor. Upon entering the room, two things hit him. The first was the mess, broken glass and books thrown everywhere with moss growing all throughout the room, and the second was a large ceiling array spread across the entire room. Young master, I need you to go behind that desk and channel some of your chakra into the ceiling array on the floor, asked Sieg of his master. To his credit, he did without question because of the trust the two have formed over the years. As the chakra started pumping through the seal, it glowed a dim blue before the room shook slightly and the bookshelf across the room moved out of the was, revealing a dark passageway. After walking over to the entrance, lanterns light up, revealing a spiral staircase that seemed to travel down the entire tower. When Naruto walked through the passageway to travel down the stairs, it felt like he walked through something, but he just waved it off until he got to the bottom and walked through that passageway and felt the same feeling. Once he was at his destination, Naruto was able to confirm he was in an underground bunker underneath the island itself despite being in the dark. So he was going to activate a low-powered lightning armor to bring some light to the room, but just as he was about to do so, lights surrounding the room lit, revealing what seemed to be a vault lab combo. A few things stood out in this room, first being the giant computer-like machine with three large circular metal pipes that seemed to be feeding into the ground. There were scrolls on bookshelves all across the room. But what really caught Naruto's attention was two giant glass tubes situated next to the computer with what seemed to some sort of weird chakra-like energy floating in the two tubes. There was a black reddish energy. Though it was dark in color, it didn't give off an evil feel to it as chakra of that nature did. The energy that felt similar yet different at the same time to his very own chakra, like pure, dense power. Young master, go over to the computer, came the voice of Sieg, breaking Naruto out of his semi-trance as he walked from his spot in front of the stairs over to the large computer. Once there, Sieg spoke up again, take the Uzu headband and place it in the rectangular slot in the upper right-hand corner. Doing as he was told, Naruto removed the headband from his right bicep and placed it in the slot, where when he did, a light shone from underneath as the computer came to life. As the computer screen loaded its contents, what was shown on said screen shocked Naruto to his core. It was his father Minato Namikaze staring back at him through the screen with a smile on his face. Hello son. How? I thought you died, stuttered out Naruto as he stared at the screen with his one visible eye widened while trying to make sense of this impossibility. I am a part of the true Minato Namikaze's conscience loaded onto the computer's mainframe, tasked to explain some things that we wanted to explain ourselves, explained the artificial intelligence. What did you want to explain to me that I probably wouldn't know by now? Questioned Naruto with a raised eyebrow. Well, for one thing would be your sword, Sieg, if I recall correctly, his true purpose. What true purpose? I would like to assume that the Dragon Masters have already passed on the ancient spirits to you and Sieg while explaining what they are? Asked the uploaded conscience of Minato. No, I don't know very much. I know how to use only a portion of their power but none of their abilities, and I only what the Nine Tails has told me. He told me how incredibly powerful they were. So much so that they were capable of rivaling his own power. Outside of that, not much, because Jigen has been reluctant to tell me more. But what does that have to do with Sieg? Questioned the whiskered blonde. I am getting to that. You see, the sage tried to create a weapon through his power over yin and yang. A weapon that he intended to be made of demonic chakra that would be on par with most of the tailed beasts in terms of raw power. That wasn't what he did. Instead, he brought forth 4 ancient sword spirits. Upon arrival, they explained that they were slated to eventually find their one true master, but due to his interference he brought them to this dimension before his birth, and not only that, the demonic chakra broke down their general makeup, making it hard for them to remain stabilized, which would have forced them to fade from existence, but the sage provided a way to help. He used extremely powerful sealing technique combined with senjutsu and the power of his rinnegan to seal them away until they were able to sense their master. When the sage was on his deathbed, he entrusted the spirits to his third son, who then entrusted them to his descendant clan, the Uzumaki clan. Why entrust the spirits to the Uzumaki? Simple, they were sentient beings whose powers would tempt those who came across it to harness its power, but the sage's son had the awareness to keep them sealed away, and seeing as the Uzumaki were masters in the sealing arts, he entrusted them to keep them sealed away from the world, which after he left it in his descendants' hands, and that is where Sieg comes into play. Sieg came into play a few decades ago after years of studying the energy. The clan and master dragons came up with a joint solution by creating a sword from a special metal from the dragon realm, which is special in itself, then with the addition to the master's power given to the sword. In theory should have given it the ability to harmonize with the spirits, but that didn't occur as they tried to have the sword absorb the spirits, but the dragon's mana somewhat deteriorated the spirits a little more. That is where Sieg made his presence felt and transferred his consciousness to the sword and cut the absorption process. But long story short, he explained that the sword wasn't ready for their power just yet, and explained the ultimate goal was to have the spirits, Sieg and the chosen wielder souls merge. I see, that's good theory. Let an descendant merge with the energies to do some good with it, then at some point the power of the spirits pass on with him. Exactly, eventually you will completely merge with them, but it is going to take time. Now why don't you take a seat so we can finish our conversation, spoke Minato to his son, to which he complied, situating himself in front of the supercomputer. Before I begin, I want to ask you how your life was in the Leaf before heading off to train with the Dragon Masters? Asked Minato. Honestly, that was the worst time of my life. I was beat within an inch of my life on an almost daily basis. I was starved to the point that I had to dig through the garbage for food just to survive. At the age of 3 I was left to fend for myself. But worst of all would be I was almost raped when I was 5, and would have been if not Gigi, finished Naruto as he looked downcast from the memories of what happened to him in that village. When he looked back up at his father, he looked downright pissed. Well, this makes the plan so much easier, and to think that I didn't think I could hate the Leaf any more than I already did, Minato said, surprisingly calm. Okay, what's going on, and what do you mean by hate the Leaf more than you already did? Questioned Naruto, confused by his words. Our hate of the Leaf stems very deep, and it's not their fake mantra of the will of fire, which is an excellent ninja way to follow, answered Minato. If that's the case, then why hate the Leaf? Asked Naruto, still confused by his father's words. Because as I just said, it is fake, an old mantra the first 3 Hokages tried to have the Leaf live up to until the civilians and a good portion of the shinobi populace decided to take control of the village from the shadows. Danzo, growled out Naruto as his father finished speaking. I am afraid so, his roots are deeper than you could imagine, Minato said. How deep exactly? He was responsible for the fall of Whirlpool. All because we refused to give up our higher level seals, spoke an emotionless Minato as she spoke of Danzo's doings. I knew the fucker was dirty, but this is unforgivable. I am going to deliver a fate far worse than death, seethed Naruto in his mind. What was the plan you mentioned? Whirlpool's revival, stated Minato simply with a smile on his face. This got a smile from Naruto as he heard his father's answer to his question. But his answer only brought on more questions, which he was about to start firing off only for Minato to beat him to it. I can see you have a lot questions about the plan, but before we get into the finer details we need to tell you about Whirlpool. Whirlpool was home to clans other than the Uzumaki. A few of them you may know of as they now reside in the Leaf. The Shihoin clan, who specialize in close combat. Their speed only eclipsed by one clan. They have the ability to shapeshift. Then there was the Azuki clan, a clan made up of sword prodigies. The Haruno clan made up of talented medical ninja, and finally the Namikaze clan, which you know all about, Minato finished explaining. Not that this isn't informative, but what does this have to do with Whirlpool's revival? A lot. Those clans are just as much a part of Uzushiogakure as the Uzumaki were, so upon the destruction of Whirlpool the clans made a decision to send the clan heirs of the Azuki, Shihoin and Uzumaki clans to the Leaf. The Namikaze and Haruno clans were already established in the Leaf as to help them in their building. Whirlpool sent those to clans to help the Leaf after the clan wars. The Namikaze were tasked with taking care of the Azuki and Shihoin clan heirs while a friend of your mother's from the Haruno clan took care of your mother until we graduated the academy, said Minato. Over time we noticed how most of the Leaf treated us and we investigated all of the Leaf's dealings where we then came upon a private meeting where they were discussing how they were going to turn our clans into their personalized weapons, says Minato through grit teeth. That's when the beginning of our plan began to take shape, especially after our first meeting with Jigen in which he informed us of a prophecy how our child would resurrect our once great nation. Though we wouldn't be there to help you physically, the remnants of Whirlpool made sure to have things in place that would help you out in the future. Seeing the question in his eye of what they had in place, Minato answered the question before Naruto could even speak. You were going to require a hefty sum of money to pull off a project this big, so that was something put into place between the ownership of several businesses, countless S-rank missions and inheritance from our clans. Your finances is taken care of. Another thing we took care of was give you a powerful ally in your godparents Takeda Shingen and his wife Madame Shijimi. They don't know about our plan, but they do have a few things we left in their possession. Now I am pretty sure you know that you are required to enter the CRA being the last heir of 2 extinct clans, correct? Asked the blonde father, to which she received a nod. Something tells me I am probably not going to like this, thought Naruto to himself as his father started speaking. We set up a few fiancés of which only one is obligated and the others we only ask you try. Minato looked on at a shocked Naruto as he tried to compose himself. Thoughts of who these women could be, but the most worrisome thought was of Anko and how he would have to explain this to her. Great, now I am going to have to explain this to Anko, something I don't think will go well. Sigh asterisk. Who are these women you set me up with? Breathe out Naruto before he asked his question, accepting the situation for what it was. Besides, he figured follow their wishes after seeing all the preparation they had done for him. Well, your first fiancés comes from an old contract between the Senju and Uzumaki had, which was for me to marry the male heir of their clan Nawaki, but he died during the Second Great Ninja War, so that contract fell to you and Tsunade being the last of your respective the clans. Wait a minute. How can I marry her? Isn't Tsunade like 50? I know that is why we came up with a solution to where age wouldn't be a factor, spoke Minato as scroll and vial with a glowing blue liquid were produced from a compartment below the computer. The scroll contains an improved version of Tsunade's creation rebirth seal, the absolute pinnacle of medical ninjutsu. It is the ultimate regeneration technique. By releasing great volumes of chakra, the body's cell division is forcibly stimulated by proteins, reconstructing all organs and all tissues making up the human body. The technique itself did not regenerate the old cells until now. By using your potent chakra and mixing your blood with the hero's water combined with the improved seal, you can reduce her age to that of about 20 years old, explained Minato. Why would my blood be needed? Asked Naruto at the pure geniusness his parents displayed through the solution. Because Tsunade is 1/4 Uzumaki, but for some reason she never possessed the naturally high life force all Uzumaki possess, so by adding your blood it will jump-start her Uzumaki lineage. Well, I am willing to give it a try since age is no longer a factor, spoke Naruto as he placed the scroll on his belt and sealed the vial onto the back of his hand. Now who are the other women you have set me up with? Next in line we have Karasuba Ichimaru, the daughter of a good friend of mine, Jin Ichimaru, heir to the Ichimaru clan as well as last surviving members of said clan. Then the next two are Sakura Haruno and Rias Uzumaki. Rias is one of the last Uzumaki and was adopted by Sakura's mother Mebuki. They are both about the same age as you and Sakura was named the heir, while Rias is of royal blood from the Uzumaki clan, meaning she is likely to awaken any one of the known bloodlines from the Uzumaki clan. But how? I thought all of the Uzumaki perished. Naruto asked about his last living clan member. Ask Yoruichi, she will explain everything to you, Minato told him as keep the conversation moving. And the last two who we each selected based off of what we wanted them to do. I had my chosen fiancé for you travel to the Dragon Realm with Jagen's permission Yoruichi Shihoin. I gave her the duty of showing you the love of a doting sibling once you were able to get to the Dragon Realm. So Yoruichi was in on this whole time, asked a slightly disappointed Naruto of his parents' decision to make her withhold information. No, Yoruichi grew up knowing that she would marry you someday, but she wanted to tease you as her nature calls for, but I asked her to dot on you as a personal favor. So don't think she doesn't truly love you, because before she got sent to the Dragon Realm she took care of me as a small child, not wanting any harm to befall you, said Minato, making Naruto regret doubting Yoruichi. Now this one is all on your me. Your mother didn't like the choice, but her name is Yugo Azuki. She is the heir to the Azuki clan. I picked her up on a mission after having found her on the way back from a mission. Her mother and father had been killed by hunter ninja hired by Danzo. I found out that her parents were originally from Whirlpool and took her in, and she is about 5 years older than you, said Minato, a light tone. I placed a seal on her to help with her bloodline as well as the mission of keeping you safe from the shadows. Okay, but why didn't Ka-san like the decision you made? Because she doesn't like the fact that I asked her to watch you from the shadows and not interfere until you were ready to accept her as one of your wives. Yugo was furious as well because she wanted to be involved in your life from the moment she found out Kushina was pregnant, but I had no choice, for both your sakes but her especially, because there is no doubt in my mind that the leaf would have killed her if they knew her identity. Minato said the last part feeling a little down. And because of the prophecy, if you didn't experience any hardships there was a high possibility that you wouldn't have the flare you have now, which would have caused you more heartache than you could handle later on. Don't beat yourself up over it too, San. I am glad you did that, said Naruto, making Minato look at him through the screen with wide eyes. You are? Yeah, because if I didn't I would have been blinded to the truths of the world and probably would have been gullible enough to believe any and every bullshit lie anyone from the leaf told me. Then there is the fact that I would have been loyal to a village of controlling bigots who have done nothing but harm me and my family from day one, but because of that I have a new dream, spoke Naruto as Minato listened to his son speak. And what dream is that? His father asked. Freedom. Freedom so that I can have true friends that won't be reprimanded for simply being nice to me. Freedom to openly love someone without having to worry about someone harming them, and freedom to have a family. Minato had no words for how proud of this boy no man that he helped produced. And that is the principle that Whirlpool will be built on, freedom. Wow. With words like that there is nothing left for me to tell you. Everything you are going to need is located in our home, which is in a cave in the Forest of Death, and also each of your fiancés have a mate seal that has not been full activated but is connected to a master mate seal that you have on your right hand. Now there is one more thing I need to tell you, as Minato looked on at the headband, noticing the chakra starting to run out. No matter if you decide to continue down your destined path, I know Whirlpool is in good hands, Minato said with terror in his eye. Or if you decide to change course, know this, lingered Minato. I love you and I are proudest father in the world for the man that my son has become, Minato said with conviction. At this point Naruto couldn't hold it in any longer and tears just started flowing from his eyes. Be happy and have lots of kids for me to watch over, Minato finished as the chakra ran out and the screen went black, making Naruto look down trying to compose himself.
I know this is difficult for you, but try and follow his wishes and go be happy. That's the best thing you could do for him. Kurama chimed in from the seal, trying to ease Naruto's pain.
I know that, but why is it the one thing I want I can never have? I know you always seem to get the short end of the stick, but at least you got to meet them once and know how much they cared for you. Getting his bearings together, Naruto stood up and walked over to where Sieg had just finished absorbing the energies. Thanks Kurama, and you are right, I was fortunate to have met them, so I am not going to wallow in pity. Naruto picked up his blade and was shocked from at how much power he felt the blade radiate as he gave a few test swings before sheathing the blade in its respective sheath. The Rinnegan wielder made his way back to the edge of the island where his clones had finished cremating the remains of the fallen residents of Whirlpool, leaving the ashes in a large bin, of which Naruto ordered 2 of his clones to release into the ocean. After doing what they were told, Naruto's clones disappeared in puffs of smoke. Activating his Rinnegan, Naruto kneeled on one knee